and fellow worship associate Kathy Hartman is joining me today to present this service on the monthly Soul Matters theme of Thresholds, while our beloved minister, Laura Liefert, is on a well-deserved sabbatical. Today's service will be recorded and posted on the Namaqua UU website by our webmaster, Karen Brock. Thank you, Karen. We've been doing this since March 15th, and while I think we're making some progress, we're still learning. So please bear with us. If there are any rough spots or delays, if voices get broken up or the picture on the screen freezes. To improve the quality of sound, our Zoom technician, Sarah Soriani, has muted everyone. Thank you, Sarah. We have a few more folks who've been trained to do this, to do the technical part of this service. And if anyone else is willing to learn to help with that, we would appreciate it. You could please contact Sarah. We can always use more people willing to be trained to help. So please keep your microphones muted during the service. During joys and sorrows, some of you will be invited to unmute your microphones and share. And all of you will unmute if you choose to stay after the service for the virtual coffee hour. So, do we have any first-time visitors here today? If so, could you raise your hand or put on, actually, if you put on chat and tell us who you are, that would be great. Is there anybody here? Alice? Alice Kane is our, yes, there she is, our membership chair. Okay. Well, if I don't see anyone and you are here, welcome. We'll get back with you. But give us your email if you don't mind. So for announcements, tomorrow is Memorial Day. So we want to extend our gratitude to any among us who are or were in the military. Could I have a show of hands if anyone is? Well, Brian, great, thank you. There's no way that we could possibly express enough gratitude to you for the sacrifices that you've made. But please accept our humble adoration. Okay. Next Sunday, May 31st, is on the threshold of the full catastrophe. Worship associates Susan Moody and Lauren Daly will explore the personal challenges we're all facing. Now, I've heard Susan's sermon on this, and it's great. You're not going to want to miss this, so be sure you tune in next week. The last announcement that I know of is about General Assembly. Registration for the virtual General Assembly of the UU Association is now open. GA begins on Wednesday, June 24th, and ends on Sunday, June 28th. The cost to fully participate is $150. Namaqua's Leadership Development Committee has funds available to assist with the costs. 3 worship services on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday are open to the public. There are more details on the UUA website. Contact Kathy Hartman. Where are you, Kathy? Okay, there she is. Contact Kathy Hartman for further information. Our Namaqua Sunday service on June 28th will be one and the same as the GA service. We're going to stream that. And it begins at 11 a.m. So details to follow. Now, sit back and relax and listen to our prelude. This is Haley Klinkhammer with Be Okay.
Bring you down, and there are things that can go wrong, and when they go wrong, it can feel, yeah, it can feel like you're alone, even when there are people all around. And when that happens, what you've gotta say is I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna find my way. And you know you'll never bring me down. I'm strong and you think I'm not the weakest link, no. And I'm gonna be okay. trying hard not to look down. It's dancing like nobody's watching. Oh, it's sharing your story and knowing all who it may help. It may be scary. Don't be afraid, sing, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna find my way. And you know you'll never bring me down. I'm stronger than you think. I'm not the weakest link, no. And I'm gonna be okay. And on this journey you will find that it may take some time, but hope is real and help is here. The people out there know your pain, so don't you be ashamed. Just stand up and stand tall. Yeah, stand up and stand
Good
tall.
morning, everyone.
The
Let's
world
light our
seems to be
chalice.
falling apart. Believe this with all of your heart.
I'm trying to unmute you, but keep wanting to
Gonna
mute.
be okay.
All right, let's light our chalice with these words from Paul Stephen Dodenhoff. For this 1 hour, Spirit of life, we let go. For this 1 hour, may we let go of our anxieties, our fears, our anger, our self-doubts, our regrets, our petty grievances, and our distractions. If only for this 1 hour, let the flame of this chalice burn them from our hearts and minds and light our way to peace and serenity. For this 1 holy hour, come, let us worship together. And now would you please join me, muted of course, for our congregational affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now it's time for all ages, so sit back and enjoy Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss.
Go by Dr. Seuss. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there things can happen, and frequently do, to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true, that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on. You'll be left in a lurch. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're darked. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite, or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you'll start into race down long wiggled roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, toward a most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting. Waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing. With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky, ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go. There is fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too, games you can't win because you'll play against you. All alone. Whether you like it or not, alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go through the hack and cracks howl, onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. So, be your name Buxbaum or Bixby or Bray, or Mordecai, Alley, Van Allen, O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So, get on your way. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already,
I do love me some Dr. Seuss. Well, now, if there's one word that describes the Namaqua Unitarian Universalist congregation, I would have to say it is caring. When you've got trouble, we've all got trouble. And when you've got joy, we've all got joy. Let's listen as Liz Longley sings message as we prepare to share our milestones.
You've been kicking in your sleep, tossing and turning relentlessly, and I know swallowing the words that I know you would have said if you would just breathe. Oh, my heart is tangled all around you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too. Oh, my life is arm in arm with you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too. So what do you need? I'll kiss you awake when you've had a bad dream, and I'll tell you a story, make it up as I go, or I'll sing you a song that I know that you know. It goes, my heart is tangled all around you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too. Oh, my life is arm in arm with you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too. You and I live like the tree and the vine. Oh, my darling, we're so delicately intertwined. I'll ease your pain 'cause you've eased mine. Oh, my heart, it's tangled all around you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too. Oh, my life is arm in arm with you. When you've got trouble, I've got trouble too.
And that's why we take time each Sunday to share some of these milestones in our personal lives, so we may celebrate your joys and offer comfort for your sorrows and concerns. So first, are there any birthdays or anniversaries this week? Jennifer? I'm mute. You're still muted. Oh, there you go.
Gary and I have our 41st anniversary Tuesday.
Yay!
Yeah, and there's Gary. He's walking.
Yay, hi, Gary.
Good.
Glad to hear it.
I'd like to say thank you to all of you for sending your thoughts and your positive messages to me. It's working because I'm healing very quickly.
Oh, great.
Great.
You're Rebecca?
Tom and I will be married 17 years tomorrow.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Wow.
Anymore, I can't see you all.
Shirley, I think Shirley had her hand up.
Oh, Shirley? Gotta unmute.
We had our 61st anniversary yesterday, and our was here to help us celebrate. That was just great.
Sweet.
Yay. Yeah, Marion has one. I'm sorry you broke up. Did anybody else not hear her? I can't hear you.
I didn't hear you, Mary.
She broke up, but I think she said she turned 73 yesterday. Happy birthday, Marion.
Is that right? Yay! You make it look good. Any other birthdays, anniversaries? Don't see any. Okay. All right. Ha! I have a bowl. And I have a stone, which I shall put in here for those birthdays and anniversaries. So, with respect for our time together, the first 8 people who indicate via chat or raising your hand will be asked to briefly share a joy or a concern. You'll also have the opportunity to share it after the service at the virtual coffee hour. So, does anyone have anything to share right now?
Let me start. We must remember so many souls lost to this virus, over 340,000 worldwide, more than 96,000 in the United States, and over 1,000 in Colorado. Every death comes with a grieving community. Let's hope they find comfort in our collective thoughts and grief with them.
I don't have that many rocks, but I'll put my biggest one in here.
Thank you.
For that. Okay. Is there anyone else?
Raise
Mim?
your hand.
I see Mim. Unmute. You have to unmute.
Oh,
There. Oh, no.
well, I had mine. Can you hear me all right?
Okay. Okay, Ken.
Yes, so I have been getting a lab checkup by the doctor for cancer, and I'm getting worn out, as well as keeping track of how my wife is doing at the rehab nursing center, where she's there 24 hours a day. And for some reason, when I start to get up out of bed, I get real dizzy, because I have fallen once in the past, and that makes me worried. But it'll go away. But the doc's going to check up on why I get that dizzy, and hopefully my prostate cancer is getting better. So I thank you all for your thoughts and your prayers. I appreciate it.
All right, Ken, I'll put a stone in the bowl for you. Mim?
Okay, a couple good things happened. I had a major car repair that only cost $100. Yes. And I got this wonderful note in the mail, and Milo made this bracelet for me.
Oh.
And that was just like, oh wow, I am still connected to the people. Yay.
Yay.
So, it's kind of hard just being on your own with a cat, but a bracelet helps a lot.
Oh, yeah, totally. All right. I'll put a crystal in the bowl for you. There. Any others? Oh, Amy?
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So this morning I put the potatoes in the ground, and the spring has been very good for me with my garden, because I have so much spinach that I'm considering going on a juice fast because there's so much green. So I have lots of lettuce and a mechlin and spinach, and the kale is doing very well, and peas. The peas are shooting right up. So yeah, if you come to Johnstown, our house is the one with the food in the front yard and the dressing.
Perfect.
Very good.
Excellent.
That's a great joy.
Put a rock in the bowl for you, for your garden. Okay. Do we have more? Okay. All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace until coffee hour.
I've got one, Janet.
Tim?
This is Tim.
Hi, can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, maybe I got my video on. Now?
Yeah, there you are.
Go. Okay. I'm not very high tech, but I have a joy. I'm so thrilled to be able to get back in the public to start playing some music again. I've convinced Columbine Health Services, they're a nursing home, anyway, I convinced them, they're not allowing anybody in the building, not even visitors. But I convinced them to have me play outside. So I'm socially distanced from them, and they're where they are. So this Wednesday, I'm playing up at the Worthington in Fort Collins. And the building is perfect for it because it's like 5 stories high and it's all concave. So everybody has a balcony that faces in the front. So they're all going to be out on their balcony listening to the concert. And then I told them I have a 50-foot extension cord, so I'll just set up out there in the front and see how that works. And then I've got another one Friday at the Wexford here in Loveland. So this is an experiment, but I'm looking forward to it. Get to play some music again.
Cool.
Excellent. Okay, so here's a rock for you. Brenda Christensen is still sick. Let me see that chat again. She's still sick, 50+ days of fever. Thanks for the well wishes. She's going to a naturopath this week to seek relief. And she doesn't have a microphone today, so that's why she went ahead and chatted. So as you know, her doctor thought it was from the symptoms. He thought it was COVID-19. She was tested and it tested negative, but nobody's that sick for 50 days or more if it's not COVID-19. I don't know what the heck it is if it's not COVID-19, but Brenda, we love you. And we're all sending out prayers if we pray, juju if we juge, whatever we do, we're sending it out to you, Brenda. And I'll put a big old hunk, and here's a big old hunk in crystal. I'm going to put in there in the bowl for you. And you're in our thoughts constantly. Okay. So I guess that's it. And we will stay muted, but sing along if you want to our to our traditional Comfort Me.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Thank you, Janet and Laurel and Lauren.
And now let me go ahead and light the candles for the joys and concerns outside our walls, which I forgot to do. There you go. And I can't do now. There we go. Not very good at this. Okay, we'll pretend it's lit. There they are. Okay.
All right. Sometimes when we have a theme for our services, it helps to direct one's thoughts, and other times it feels like a contrivance to fit into. While the title of my reflection is the latter, the rest of my words are a reconnection with Ralph Waldo Emerson, whose birthday is tomorrow. With our theme, he is emblematic of crossing the threshold of old beliefs into new ones. Emerson lived 200 years ago and is a much revered figure in the Unitarian movement. He strongly influenced the reformist Unitarian minister Theodore Parker, after whom our social hall is named. Both were transcendentalists, a philosophy characterized by the tenets of equality, individualism, self-reliance, integrity, and optimism. Born a Unitarian, Emerson was briefly the junior pastor at Boston's Second Church. That experience and the death of his first wife caused him to question both his beliefs and the value of formal church contained by walls. He left the church and traveled. His mind was open to new ideas and a discovery of our connection to nature that took him away from theology and towards science. I, like many, encountered Emerson in college through essays and in particular, his book Nature. I still have my 1968 facsimile of his 1836 first edition. I like my book about nature, he said, and I wish I knew where and how I ought to live. That was my question too, how and where I ought to live. In those uncertain times as a young adult, I couldn't easily determine my next steps. The Vietnam War, racial and gender equity issues, and growing environmental concerns caused even more questions. In spring 1970, anti-war demonstrations were at their height, and colleges were trying to figure out how to get to the end of the semester. At the University of Wisconsin, where I was a sophomore, grades could be pass-fail upon a conversation with the professor. I remember striding into my poli-sci professor's office and pronouncing that everything I needed to know about political science I could learn on the streets. I groan thinking of that now, and I'm pretty sure he'd heard that more than once. I dropped out of college after that semester and dallied in New
Yeah, I think Kathy froze. So unfortunately, how about if we go to our offertory and perhaps she can finish her reflection afterwards.
Okay, let's try it. So we'll now virtually receive our offering. One of the ways Namaqua walks our talk is to give half of our collection plate away to support our local community. And this quarter, we're giving half of our collection plate for laundry vouchers for the homeless. So to donate, click on the chat icon. Sarah will display a link that invites you to give. Just click on the link to give an electronic donation, either your bank account information or a credit card. You can designate your donation to go as a pledge for the collection plate or for the building fund. If you prefer, you can always mail in your donation to the church or go to our website, namaquauu.org, to donate electronically. So we will go ahead and listen to Yo-Yo Ma, my favorite classical musician. So now to virtually receive our offering, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings, to the vision of this congregation, which is to, which is to radiate love, peace, and justice as we work together to build beloved community. Now, Kathy, would you like to try and finish your reflection before I go into mine?
No, she's not back. You can go ahead and continue with your sermon.
Okay. So, this is it. Let's see if I can get through this and still do it right. So, you know how you're sitting on the couch watching TV, minding your own business, when suddenly you remember you have chicken thawing on the counter in the kitchen. You need to put it in the refrigerator. So you jump up and dash into the kitchen, only to immediately forget why you're there. Snack time? Beverage? Wash my hands again? I don't know. So when my daughter and I were living together, we had a system. When one of us thought of a reason to get up and dash into another room, we'd yell out, "Thawing chicken!" And then when we got there, we'd ask the other person, and hopefully they were paying attention and they'd remember. This worked sometimes, and sometimes it didn't. And we wondered which one of us was going to sink into dementia first. Well, here's the good news. According to a set of studies conducted by Gabriel Radvansky and his colleagues at the University of Notre Dame, it was observed that changing rooms and walking through doorways makes us forget things. This is not a sign that we're losing our minds. It's a true phenomenon called the doorway effect. And this is how it goes. Whenever we reach or cross a threshold, an ending and a new beginning happens. That is signaled, and we leave the old behind to prepare for the new. So even the realization that we need to get that chicken off the counter can be at least temporarily shoved out your left ear to make room for getting back to forensic files or whatever jumps out at you from the cupboards. That chicken was so 5 seconds ago. But it's not about the time that's passed. It's really about the door itself, the threshold. The researchers had people perform exercises involving picking something up and walking the same distance in the same amount of time within the same room, virtually and literally. And they didn't forget what they were supposed to do with that dirty mug or whatever. If they didn't walk through a door, they were fine. When they did walk through the door, their brains just said, "I'm done." And that was that. And it took some concerted effort to recall the reason for the trip. Now, an interesting thing about thresholds is that they work in reverse too. We knowingly move from room to room, not really thinking about any kind of effect that may reveal itself, like forgetting what our intention was. But sometimes an invisible doorway will throw itself open. And we just realize, we sometimes feel it. We feel it before we realize that we've even crossed it. Never has this happened, at least in this particular lifetime, to so many people at one time as it is happening now. And there are so many flavors of it right now that it's just mind-boggling. The changes we've been going through are tough to deal with. The coronavirus is having big impacts on all of us in different ways. A pandemic brings out the best and the worst in us. Being quarantined with spouses and children has put a strain on some of these relationships. The most successful divorce lawyer in Hollywood told Entertainment Tonight that she's had many calls from celebrities saying, "The minute this thing is over, you got to help me get out of this marriage." And some of them couldn't even wait. People in abusive relationships are trapped with their abusers. Some parents are snapping, trying to homeschool, entertain, and feed their children, all while working from home or looking for a new job. There's been an increase in child abuse. And even when this doesn't happen, some kids still experience food insecurity because they're used to being fed at school. All of these are transitions, thresholds. The doorway effect is making itself known. What are we doing here? Everything has suddenly changed and we're faced with adapting. We must be resilient. So much is out of our control. So we look for things we can control. We can sew face masks. We can howl on our front porch. We can support local businesses and give overgenerous tips to restaurants that deliver our food or let us pick it up without contact. Another of the thresholds this virus is creating is in the workplace. Some folks, like my eldest daughter, are working from home. Some, like my youngest, are considered essential and are wearing masks and gloves, practicing social distancing and praying they don't fall ill. Now, I've held many varied jobs in this lifetime, some good, some not so good. I have some great memories of bosses and coworkers, and some downright traumatic memories. Almost 12 years ago, I found a fabulous job as office manager for a holistic nutritionist. It was my dream job. I've been helping people take care of themselves, including myself and my family, since September of 2008. It was fulfilling and satisfying. I made the job far more than it was supposed to be. I transitioned the office from paper to computer files. I created forms and spreadsheets, a procedural manual, and protocols, and formed relationships with clients and vendors. But about 3 or 4 years ago, things started changing subtly. My boss started acting differently towards me, requiring me to make changes to my appearance and personality. She changed our hours, resulting in a 25% pay cut for me. It was still good pay, but I started looking for supplemental income, wondering how much longer I could keep my job. She could be very compassionate one minute and harshly critical the next. Well, when this virus came along, I began to realize that we had very different perspectives on it, and I was beginning to experience some discomfort. One day last month, something happened in an instant that shocked and frightened me and left me wondering whether I should quit my job. Well, I didn't have to wonder for long. She saw my fear and offered me the opportunity to go home and collect unemployment. And I accepted, actually thankful that she had taken that decision out of my hands. So all of a sudden I had crossed a threshold that I feared may be approaching, but I didn't expect it to come upon me so abruptly. It was like literally having a door slammed in my face. It was shocking and painful. I went home and I licked my wounds for a few days, and then I got to work, applying for unemployment and jobs and completing projects around the house that I've been putting off. At that moment, I felt exactly the same as I had when my ex and I capsized a sailboat. He's an adrenaline junkie, and he liked to see how fast we could make the boat go. It was a 15-foot Catalina, and in order to make it go fast, one person would handle the rudder and sails, manipulating them very quickly, and one person would put their feet on the side of the boat and lean, holding onto a line straight out from the boat, hanging out over the water. Guess who leaned out over the water? Yeah, I was terrified. He was exhilarated. As he manipulated the sails with the changing winds, the boat flipped over, tossing us both into the Pacific Ocean. He swam over to me and asked, "Are you okay?" I replied, "I am now." What a relief. I can't fly, but I can swim, hey. So, a few things that I've picked up over the years have helped me through this tough time. Number one, I don't beat myself up over it. I know that I did all I could. I hung in there as long as I could, and I did a great job. I did not bring this upon myself. Number two, there are things I can control. I analyzed my remaining income and made plans to meet my financial obligations. Of course, one of them is getting another job. But number three, this is not my first rodeo. You know I've been knocked down before and I'll get up again. So whenever we cross a threshold, it's natural to be disoriented and confused. Stress is inevitable. when we're beginning or ending something, whether it's joyful or sorrowful. Death, divorce, difficulty starting a family, loss of a job, a pandemic. We expect all of these things to cause stress. On the other hand, we have to learn that even joyful events can cause stress. May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's good to keep in mind what the experts say. Years ago, I spent time in therapy, and my doctor explained to me that the same chemicals are released into our system for excitement as for fear, and it's our interpretation of them that manifests as stress or anticipation. When that first rush of chemicals hits the system, we're caught off guard and our default kicks in. Now, my first husband was extremely cautious and saw cause for fear in anything new or unfamiliar. My second husband's default was excitement. It took me a while to realize that it was up to me to consider that there might be danger in a situation because he wouldn't. I guess there's something about being a 6'4" Puerto Rican man that makes one feel invincible. Well, ideally, there would be some middle ground where we would analyze our initial response to new situations to make sure we don't miss an opportunity or put ourselves in danger. When in doubt, I look for the upside to any situation. It just causes more anguish to focus on the dark side of things. Graduation, falling in love, marriage, the birth of a child, a new job, a new car, a new home. These are all joyful occasions. And if we didn't know better, we'd expect such positive experiences to induce only positive emotions and physical responses. Not so. Those chemicals, we can't control them. We can only interpret them and frame the way we think about the situation that caused them. We may be confused at times, wondering how we got here and what to do next, even if it was a great thing that happened. Now, my story hasn't come to a conclusion yet. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm realistic. I know I'm a 69-year-old woman and jobs are few and far between for me in the best of times. In this period when so many people are out of work and job seeking, kids getting out of high school and college, my prospects are not really good. Not great. But I'm still breathing and I don't consider any job beneath me. Worst comes to worst, I'll hang in there until social distancing is over and become a greeter at Walmart. Join the enemy. I've passed through a threshold, a doorway. I do know what I left behind. I don't know what is coming, but as long as there's breath, there's hope. We have more thresholds to cross and doorways to open. May they lead us to better things. May it be so. So is my Kathy ready with her reflection?
I think she is. Hold 1 second.
Okay.
We want to do this. It's getting kind of late.
You're worth it. We've got 8 minutes.
Let's hope I don't break the camera again.
Yeah.
Okay. So where was I? When last we left our hero, I had grown up with a dad who had a layman's knowledge of plants and animals, a curious mind, and a hankering to get out to the woods. I was drawn into this world as a child and came back to it with fervor. So Emerson and I have some similarities. I've had a few squatters on my property too, but none so famous as Emerson's freeloading Henry David Thoreau. You might know that Walden Pond was on Emerson's property. Emerson suffered much tragedy early in life, the deaths of his first wife and 2 brothers. Some years later, his 5-year-old son died of scarlet fever. Later, the loss of friends Thoreau and Nathaniel Hawthorne. Grief and loss do have an effect going forward. Emerson has variously been described as a mystic, an intellectual, a philosopher, a visionary, and a poet, among other things. So that ends any further comparison. Some have said that the multifaceted Emerson brings out the narcissist in all of us. And what he really sought to do was to provoke. So I have looked to him for inspiration as I go down this path of reflections that I share with you. He said, the true preacher can be known by this, that he deals out to the people his life passed through the fire of thought. Unitarians are drawn to Emerson's thinking about nonconformity. He lectured that each must follow their own instincts and ideas. A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines. Yes, we Unitarians are an independent bunch. I'm always amazed that we get to church at the same time on the same day, or that we get there at all. Emerson did not believe in personal immortality. The soul does not know persons, he wrote. He thought it misguided that people wanted to somehow go on forever after death. Here are people who cannot dispose of a day. An hour hangs heavy on their hands. Will you offer them rolling ages without end? Maybe we have a sense of humor in common too, though his humor is much more erudite. Finally, Emerson might offer an example in these coronavirus times. He was a strong believer in individualism and self-reliance. He might have looked at this time of stay home, stay safe as the perfect opportunity for greater personal growth. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And about the Miller moth invasion, this quote comes to mind. Reality is a sliding door. Then he might add, keep it closed tightly and less of them will come inside. So happy birthday, Ralph. And as he said, this time, like all times, is a very good one, if we but know what to do with it. May it be so.
Amen. Beautiful, Kathy. So
So
now
we're-
as a closing song, I've chosen Unbreakable by Coco Love Alcorn.
I've decided to be strong. I've decided, had it in me all along. I am fearless, yeah. Now that I feel this, and all the weight is gone. Finally, I'm unshakable, unbreakable. Finally, my destiny has tested me. Finally, I've heard the call, I'm standing tall. From this moment on, I'm unbreakable. I'm standing solid, solid on the ground. I'm standing solid for whatever comes around. Yeah, I'm ready, and I'm steady in this feeling that I found. Finally, I'm unshakable, unbreakable. Finally, my destiny has tested me. Finally, I've heard the call and I'm standing tall. From this moment on, I'm unbreakable. So test me, unshakable. Oh, come on, test me, unbreakable. Yeah, you can unshakable, unbreakable. Finally, my destiny has tested me. Finally, I've heard the call and I'm standing tall. From this moment on, I'm unbreakable. So test me, unshakable. Oh, come on, test me, unbreakable. Yeah, you can test me, unshakable. Oh, come on, test me. Finally, you can test me. Yeah, finally, come on, test me. Finally, you can test me. Finally, I'm unbreakable.
That was beautiful. And now Janet will extinguish the chalice while I read my Angelus, When Great Trees Fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall, in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent on their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
Beautiful. So as a benediction, I give you these words. May whatever we do with the rest of this day help restore us, our connections to one another, our sense of hope, beauty, and fun in this world, our deep knowing that we have to take care of ourselves and each other with love and joy if we are to soulfully survive this world mayhem. And before we sing our UU blessing song, I'd like to invite you to stick around for a while after the service for a virtual coffee hour. Bring your own coffee. Shortly after the service ends, you'll receive an invitation on your screen to a breakout session. Accept the invitation and you will be broken into smaller groups. So now for our closing song, take the hand or paw of the person, real or imagine, that's sitting next to you, and feel free to sing along, muted, to our traditional closing, the UU blessing song.
It's a blessing you were born.
It's a blessing I was born.
And it matters what you do.
And it matters what I do.
What you know about God.
What I know about God.
Is a piece of the truth.
Is a piece of the truth.
Let the beauty you love.
Let the beauty I love.
Be what you do.
Be what I do.
And you don't have to do it alone.
And I don't have to do it alone.
It's a blessing we were born.
It's a blessing we were born.
And it matters what we do.
And it matters what we do.
What we know about God.
What we know about God.
Is piece of the truth.
Is a piece of the truth.
Let the beauty we love.
Let the beauty we love.
Be what we do.
Be what we do.
And we don't have to do it alone.